Okay guys, so as you can see there is a piece of metal hanging down, and whenever the wheel's turned, could you turn the wheel please now? Just full lock either side. Both sides, both sides. And it's causing a grinding and a pinging whenever the wheel's turned. So let's get cracking on. So in a previous video I had mentioned that one of the top strut mounts was away in the Mini Cooper. What I've decided to do is actually exchange both front struts for a different type. Now as you can see here, this is the type that was on mine. Now I find that these strut mounts range from £65 upwards, when these strut mounts brand new are £30. Now I got the two front strut mounts of this type for £80 second hand. Now, as I'd mentioned before, coilovers are likely in the future for this car. In most coilover sets I've seen, you'll have to reuse this cup and the strut mount, so it made it more beneficial. It's something I would have had to get in the future anyway if I did decide to get coilovers. So instead of spending £65 I got £80 and bought two new front struts. The only downside was that the drop links are a different type, so they will have to be replaced as well. Now mine had a little bit of play in them, so it was very prudent to replace them. As you can see here on this type, just to point out, these are just straight and in line, and the far side is angled, whereas in these ones both sides are angled. Now it doesn't matter which ones you get because they will do left and right hand side of the car. So I've already done one side. Now we'll carry on and get the far side done, and we'll take a wee video while I'm at it. Okay, so a quick tour around the job before we actually get started with stripping at the start. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to remove these 3 bolts, but before we get to that we are going to have to remove this drop link fitting. Now it can be done at either end, but because I have decided to replace the struts with a different type, I need to get rid of these anyway, so the best way is just to remove them from the stability bar. Now as you can see here, the last time when I was taking these out, the head had actually sheared on the bolt, so I had to drill them out and just put a clearance hole in and a bolt all the way through. We're going to disconnect our pipes and drop everything down, so let's carry on now. We'll take the drop link off first, and then the bottom of the strut, dropping away the wheel assembly, and then we will remove the 3 top bolts, releasing everything and pulling it out. Now these are fairly free for me because, like I say, I was at this the other day when I discovered that the strut mounting was a different type, so everything is free and loose, so I really shouldn't have much bother getting all this out. Generally speaking, the bolt on the wheel carrier will almost always be difficult to get out unless it's been worked on recently. I also have the drop link off at the far end. Just as a note, when carrying out any job like this, even if it's just down to replacing the drop links because you have a knocking noise whenever you're going over bumps, you should always lift the front end of the car. Because they're connected with the stability bar, one side being on the ground and the car being tilted at an angle with weight on the far side will affect how tight and the position that this sits in. Now you'll see that I'm going to put a small bottle jack underneath just to raise it up to find the perfect position that it just slides out. as you can see, because the drop legs off the far side, stability bar just moves freely up and down, so that's us disconnected there. Now, if anyone has worked on a suspension before, they'll know how difficult this bolt usually is to get out. What happens on this one is there is a tab at the far side with a hole through it, so this bolt actually clears all the way through the strut. Without getting this bolt out, you're unable to separate the wheel carrier from the strut. That's why I had to drill it out in position. It was very difficult and very time consuming. Disconnect our brake line, and on this particular side I have ABS sensor. So that is this side removed. We'll just leave this bottle jack. Follow your own advice. Like I said, I left the bolt in there for my clearance bolt. This needs to be completely removed. Separate the strut. A metal hammer would be fine as long as you're delicate. You just need to tap and get a little bit of force just to drop it down. It's more than knocking, more than having to hit it very hard. Plenty of lubrication. WD-40 is always your friend in jobs like this, or any sort of penetrating. Okay, so it's the bottom almost off. Remove two of the top bolts or nuts, sorry, and just slacken the third. That'll allow us a little bit of play. Right, so that is us free. Just secure it. Remove the last top nut. Just drop it out. One out. Job done. Well, half done. Now we get our replacement strut and time to fit. Now, what I like to do is put this up and just start one of the nuts to actually hold the weight. Keep the other two nuts off, and that'll allow me a bit of play and a bit of movement to actually help feed it in to the wheel carrier. Now you can see on this one I've no drop link fitted yet. Should be able to find the angle and the play to pull it round just to get it started. I'll put a wee squirt of WD-40 on this. Just to help it slide in. That is us started. I'll use the wee bottle jack again just to press it back up. I use this bottle jack just to make it handy. You don't need one, you can fiddle about with it, but you find that if you have a small jack, it just makes life that wee bit more easier. Now, what you didn't see there was that I actually had to take the strut out again and just tap that end with the chisel again, just to make sure there was enough space. As you can see there, it just slipped in quite freely the next time. So, trying to save a wee bit of time by doing it in position actually cost me time in the long run, so I should have just taken it out from the start. But that is new strut in now. Let's get her tightened up. And that's it. When you strut that position, all that's left to do is attach our new drop links, and we are good to go.
So the new drop links are more standard size of 17mm. I have noticed there's no hole at the end for either a Torx key or an Allen key, which is unusual, and I think the first time I've come across that. Hold on a second, I'm going to show you something stupid I just did. Okay, unless, like me, you want to be turning for days, I did mention there was no area at the end for an Allen key or a Torx key, and that is simply because on the inside there is slots. I don't know if you can pick that up there, but there's two slots there obviously to grip it with a spanner while you tighten. So once you hit the nylock, you're just going to turn the whole ball joint. So I'll get the right size for this, and we'll get it fitted properly then. Okay, so the spanner needed to hold the slots on the inside is a 14mm. Okay, so that is our new strut in, or replacement strut, and our new drop link fitted. Job done. To finish off, we'll just tighten our top mount screws. And that is our new strut and drop link completed. Yeah, as you can tell, you know, this is a project, this is my project, and there will be a few wee mishaps along the way. But if you stick with me, I will make the mistakes so you don't have to. Thanks for watching.